Yo, what's good, everyone? Twisted here with the Open Sorcery, and today I wanted to go ahead and expand upon the previous conversation that was had with Devi and Drew about energy work, and thought that came to mind of, you know what, maybe I should go ahead and share this with y'all about energy cords, right? So, when, becoming more sensitive to energy work and all that sort of thing, right? You're likely going to start detecting that there are cords between yourself and another individual, connections that, you might be able to start visually seeing, or might be able to feel like tugging on you, or that you can like have in some sort of sense like a grasp upon, right? And being able to be more sensitive to these sorts of things, right? I guess what I'm wanting to relay is, okay, so how do we go ahead and make sense of it in the third dimensional sort of sense, right? How do we go ahead and think about it, right? How does it work? How does it, or shall I say, how does it go ahead and actually play out to the best of our human comprehension? So, I have an idea in my head that you guys can go ahead and follow. So take a piece of paper, whatever it may be, loose leaf, construction paper, whatever. Grab a pen, pencil, Sharpie, whatever. And go ahead and draw yourself, first off, two stick figures on the top part of the paper. It doesn't matter whether it's long ways or whether it's short ways, vertical or horizontal. Just go ahead and do that. Just a straight line between two stick figures. And, in doing that, that's usually what people would envision, right? Of like that sort of chord. Now, under that, allow yourself some space for the second diagram here. Now, go ahead and draw two stick figures, right? And also beside them, more so towards the center point of the facing towards the center point of the piece of paper, go ahead and draw circles or ovals, something like that. Now, you can go ahead and start drawing your line, but stop once you hit the circles. Like, have the line go into the circle, but have it stop there for both sides. Now, that in of itself is more so representative of what those chords are actually doing. Like, it's kind of illogical, you could say, that, okay, you have a chord, and it's going from you all the way over to, let's say you have a pen pal over on the other side of the world, that's going ahead and stretching to the other side of the world in some way, shape, or form. With the way that we depict things, with our physical senses seeing like an actual chord or whatever the case may be. There is some sort of portal, some sort of wormhole that is connecting these two, individuals, or this connection. Maybe it's you and a non-human entity of some sort. You in a thought form. You and, a tree that you used to sit under at college, or, maybe some sort of like animal that you are fond of. And all these different sorts of connections. That is more so, to use scientific terms, you are quantumly entangled. Now, the thing about it is that it's not just that you're quantumly entangled with those particular things that you are fond of, that you have a significant sort of, oh yes, this is a person who's impacted my life, or a thing that has impacted my life, including, non-live things. And I use air quotes for that because everything has a consciousness. Consciousness pervades through all energy. Everything's made up of energy in the physical sense that is manifested as matter. So everything, in fact, is living. I definitely suggest checking out the philosophical idea of pantheism. To go ahead, I believe that's the term, but yes, pantheism. To go ahead and get an understanding of that everything has a level of consciousness. But I have to make an edit real quick. It's panpsychism, not pantheism. Pantheism has to do with there being multiple gods, like a pantheon. Panpsychism is where all objects, whether animate or inanimate, have consciousness. Yes, that sort of quantum entanglement, actually has to do with everything. So even if it's at a small, undetectable level to your level, I'm not even saying this for people who don't necessarily have the ability to detect like particular chords between them and others for energy work and are sensitive in that manner. I'm just saying it even for people who are, learned, who have experience, who are more sensitive to sort of thing, that even if they don't necessarily detect it all the time, or it's not something that's important to them or their frame of consciousness, their own perspective, they have tiny little indecipherable connections to everything and every person. We all do, think of it as like, hey, look, if say me and Devi or Lono, two friends of mine and people who help work with the channel, right? Say I have noticeable connections to them, and you can say that's like a rope. Then to everybody who's listening to this video right now, maybe there's like a little tiny sliver of a string that I can't even perceive. It's like so small, whatever. Those connections are still there between you and I, or me and the rocks around my area or past my area or place I've been, so on and so forth. I think you can get the point. And for that visual representation that we were working on, I actually want to go back to that because there's something else that I think, we should become conscious of in a, granted, it's something that, I honestly cannot perceive myself, but it just makes damn sense. And, when you are on your journey and you start to realize things, when you start to see the patterns, once you start to not only have the consumption of information, but also the experiential understanding, as well as just the intuitive knowing, this will likely click for you as well. So take that piece of paper, right? And you have those two figures, right? Whether it's the full-on string going from one to another, or you have like the person with a little portal there connecting them to another person with a portal. Now I want you to go ahead and fold that paper, right? And that in of itself is representative of the folding of space-time, from a scientific standpoint, that, the portal in of itself is making it to where, the space is lessened. But at the same time, it also goes ahead and showcases that's all the same space. And that is the true secret. The true understanding and knowing is that we're all inhabiting the same space. We don't necessarily comprehend it. We don't realize it. But we are all sharing the same space at the same damn time. And I know it sounds a bit crazy because with our five senses, with our sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste, and whatever sort of sixth sense, perception that you have, it may not necessarily be the case or that you are aware, but it is ongoing. And Think about it like this. Whether you subscribe to a scientific theory model of the Big Bang and or you think that there is some sort of intelligence, some sort of grand design, whether it's programmers to a video game simulation or God in a sort of religious manner, what I'm trying to say is that the idea is that, hey, look, there was a big bang and everything went out, right? And the universe is continually pushing outward. And it is expanding, continually doing so. Has been since the beginning of time and creation and all that sort of thing, and that there will eventually be an end to the universe and it'll die out or overexpand, all that sort of thing. But honestly, everything is wrapped up and tied up together. Everything is overlaid over each other. If you want to think about it, not only are we past the point of growth and expansion, right? You could say. That sort of illusion that our human level comprehension gives us. But actually, if you want to be honest, we are in the midst of the Big Bang itself, in the sense of we are all entangled. We are all connected in a ball, you could say, just for visualization's sake. And if you want to say there's intelligent design behind it, or a programmer, or whatever, or an architect, to use Freemasonry terms, we are in the palm of that creator's hands. And there hasn't been a Big Bang yet. We are still in the midst of the moment of the Big Bang, before said expansion, where all that pressure and density is there. And hell, we're in the midst of the Big Bang, and even before the Big Bang happened, we are experiencing that. We are all experiencing this all at the same time. We are, going ahead and we're experiencing, there is no difference between past, present, future in the all actuality of existence. Now, we all have our different perspectives, and we detect that time is passing and there's actual physical distance between us and another person, or that we age and things like that there are changes. That is a part of the illusion of us having a small fractal manner of experience. But the case truly is that it's all happening at the same moment. We're all tuned into different frequencies of the radio dial, you could say. We are all going ahead and just existing on top of one another, to put it simply like that. So hopefully, me going ahead and actually, you know what? I have one, before I end this, I do have another way to go ahead and visualize it. Go ahead and take that piece of paper and crumple it. Just crumple it into a ball. Crumple it into a ball. And there you have it. Or if you want to utilize the whole cord strings analogy, if any of you have a ball of string, a ball of yarn, whatever, you can go ahead and take that as well and use that as the analogy. A physical representation of the all. The difference is whether we as individuals, or whatever manner of existence, whether it be human, non-human, physical, non-physical, whatever, we try to define the all, or the perceivable and non-perceivable, as within our limited scope of words and such. The difference is, are we able to detect that or not? And being that we are limited in our capacities, the answer is most likely no. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully, if anything, that got your brain going a little bit. Was able to be like, you know what, this sparked within me curiosity to go search for other things. And with one last edit, I will try to go ahead and wrap this up in a nice little bow. I believe it was in the 90s, the model of the 6 degrees of separation came out, and that was proposing that there were no more than 6 social connections between us and every individual across the globe. And truth be told, there's not even one. In a metaphysical and existential standpoint, there are none. We are all the same. All are one, one are all. That's pretty much it. So, this is Twisted with Open Sorcery, and stay frosty, nieces. Peace.